Hello everyone, welcome back to Easy Education London, and this is our GCSE English predictions video for specifically paper 2. Now what we are going to be doing is going over the predicted paper for English Literature paper 2, which you all will be sitting on Monday the 20th of May 2024. Before we get started, don't forget to press the subscribe button, like and share with your friends as it does help our channel grow. And I would like to thank you all for your continuous support, as we have received some amazing feedback from you all. So do keep sharing and liking our videos. Now, if you are interested in joining our online classes, do contact us via email, which is easyeducationlondon@gmail.com. Now, you may be wondering, why should I join our classes? We have expert and qualified teachers teaching our online classes, helping you prepare for your exams, go through predicted papers, model answers. We provide constructive feedback, and we go over all the topics that you need help with, and giving you the academic boost that you deserve. So what are you waiting for? Book your space today. Space is extremely limited. Now, let's have a look at the predicted paper for English Literature Paper 2. Now, starting off with Section A with an inspector calls. To those of you studying an inspector calls, these are some possible predicted questions that may arise or come up in the exam. So my advice to you is do practice answering these questions, as you may get something very similar to this in your exams for paper 2. So question number 1 reads, explore how Priestley presents Eva Smith as a character the audience should sympathize with. Now, to those of you who I've taught, I'm sure you would have acknowledged that we have actually covered a question like this before. Okay, so something common like this is something that you want to practice and prepare for. So explore how Priestley presents Eva Smith as a character the audience should sympathize with. Or number 2, explore how Priestley presents the ideas about being a responsible individual in an inspector calls. You know what? I'm not going to highlight that. I just realized it's just going to make it look confusing. So yeah, that's the second question that may arise. Explore how Priestley presents ideas about being a responsible individual in an inspector calls. Or you could have something like, explore how Priestley presents the inspector and his influence on the Burling family. Or explore how Priestley presents ideas about the treatment of women in an inspector calls. Now, some of you may be wondering, sir, why do you have so many different types of questions? Again, it's just to pick out all the different possibilities, and so that you have the best chances of success in the exam, and not just to narrow all your options and put all your eggs in one basket. And we don't want you to rely just on our predictions, because that's not smart. You should still revise all the key themes, all the key characters, so that you maximize your chances for success in your English exams. So what I would say personally, have a go at answering these questions, and then what you can do is go over the mark scheme, etc. And then you can be prepared, or at least give yourself that edge in the real exam. So that's Section A. Now moving on to Section B. For Section B, to those of you doing power and conflict, you would know that there are 15 poems, and then you would need to answer a question based on the one they provide. Now, one of the questions could be, compare how poets present the power of the natural world in Exposure and one other poem. Or alternatively, you could have, compare how poets present conflict in The Charge of the Light Brigade and one other poem. Now, these are two possible poems that may come up. So it's important you are familiar with the key quotes, the themes, the ideas, the language, the structure, etc. And importantly, you need to be able to compare to the right poem. You'd be surprised the number of students who still struggle to compare the right poem, okay, or the right poems rather. And unfortunately, if you compare it to the wrong one, you'll find it really difficult to get high marks, or you'll even struggle to think of ideas. So that's something that you have to keep in mind in preparation for your English literature. Now, my advice to you is, don't solely rely on one poem to come up, and just revise all the 15 poems. I have done a video on this, so if you go through our YouTube channel, I think it's from last year. It says all Power and Conflict, all 15 poems, themes, whatever. So if you scroll down, you'll be able to find it. I'll put it somewhere here, either at the bottom or at the top somewhere. But yeah, you have to definitely do that in preparation for your exam. So don't just rely on one poem or two poems to come up, etc. And that also includes tissue. So yes, I know some of you dislike tissue, but tissue is something you still need to revise. Now, as you can see, these were some of my previous predictions given for an inspector calls. So just keep this in mind as well. Question number 1, how does Priestley present Mrs. Birding as a selfish character? Again, I'm sure many of you have done a question like this before. Number 2, how does Priestley present Eva Smith as a character who represents the struggles of the working class? And number 3, how does Priestley present the inspector as a powerful character / force for good? So to those of you doing inspector calls, these are 3 possible questions that you want to revise. And again, be really cautious, because again, questions, what happens is that students sometimes just depend on a specific question to come up and it doesn't come up, and then they don't perform as well. That's why I'm giving you all the possibilities, and hopefully I'm pretty confident that one of them will actually come up, because last year we were able to get our predictions correct for an inspector call. So saying that, it doesn't mean you just solely rely on this, but you still are well prepared. And at least if you have done this previously or prior to going into the exam, you'll be able to maximize your marks and also give yourself that edge in the real exam. Moving on to poetry, to those of you doing Power and Conflict, number 1, these are some of the predictions. Compare how the power or importance of identity is presented in Checking Out Me History and One Other Poem. Compare how the impact of conflict is presented in Poppies and One Other Poem. And lastly, compare how the power of nature or suffering is presented in Exposure and One Other Poem. So these are some possible poems that may come up for your Power and Conflict anthology. So please make sure you go over all 15 prior to the exam. Depending on when you're watching this, if you're watching this today, then you still have a couple of days before the exam. And if you're in year 10 or year 9 and you're watching this, you still need to be able to learn all the key quotes and also be able to practice under time conditions. I cannot stress this enough, because unfortunately many students have amazing answers, but when it comes to time, they seem to capitulate and they struggle to think of ideas, or they struggle to finish the exam paper. And last but not least, the question of tissue, right? So the question I get every single year, and if I could get £1 for every time I'm asked this, I'd probably have a mansion somewhere in LA. Now, tissue. Sir, will tissue come up this year? Sir, will tissue come up? Do I need to go over tissue? I find tissue difficult. I find tissue this. I find tissue that, whatever, right? The point I'm trying to make is you never know. And it could be that AQA decide to give you tissue this year in 2024. And you have to be prepared. Don't just think, some students find this challenging and, the exam board may not give it. You never know. It may come up. The reason I say this is because it's never come up before. So eventually, I'm sure if you think about the exam board, put yourself in their shoes, it says 15 poems. Surely, it's just a matter of time before they put tissue in the exam for you to look at. So that's my advice to you all for that. And that is it for our English literature predictions. This is probably one of the last and final predictions we are going to do for 2024. So I just wanted to thank you all for the continuous support, and best of luck to you all as the exams are, depending on when you're watching it, maybe on a Saturday, Sunday, the night before the exam. I wish you all the best. You all have provided me with amazing feedback, and hopefully we can push and get to 10,000 subscribers very soon. So if you have watched until the end, please do comment race to 10,000 subs or 10k subs, and I would appreciate that. It's just so that I know how many of you watched until the end, and who knows, this video might do really well and get maybe 50k or 50,000 views, hopefully, but let's see. And yeah, that is it for today's video. Please remember to work on your time management. because practice makes perfect. I know it sounds cliche, but honestly, the more you practice, the more confident you'll be, and the more likely you are going to write a top quality answer. And remember to flick through your notes, get plenty of rest. Do not stay up late or do not wake up too early. Make sure you have a healthy diet, you're eating healthy, you're drinking lots of water, you're exercising, and you're not stressing, okay? I know it's easy said than done. Sorry, it's easy said than done. But the reality is you shouldn't stress. And if you stress, to be honest, it only makes matters worse. So that is my input. And I hope you have enjoyed our content this year. And do share our channel with all your friends and family, as it does really help our channel grow to new heights. And we are going to be going live on YouTube. So if you are interested, you can always join our YouTube live, where we are going to be revising and going over some key concepts and ideas. So that is it for today. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Follow us on all social media platforms at Easy Education London on Instagram and on TikTok. And that is it for today's video. If you have any questions, any comments, do leave them in the comment section below. I will try my best to get back to you. And yeah, that is it for today's video. We have plenty more English language videos or GCSE English videos on the way. Also grade boundaries, updates regarding 2024 grade boundaries, and much more. So do keep an eye out for that, because it's something that you definitely don't want to miss. So yes, other than that, thank you for watching, and I do highly appreciate all your support. I'm just dragging this video all the way to 12 minutes just to give it that perfect round number. So if you're watching until the end, I'm sure you'd realize these are some of the struggles of life of a YouTuber. So thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share for more. Thank you.